Hey, everybody, and welcome in. It's the Poor Man Fantasy Football League podcast. We're the fantasy football show that gives you a peek inside the life and times of our Dynasty League. I'm your host, Mike. With me, as always, is my good friend, Andrew. And this week, we're going to be breaking down the NFC East. For those that don't know, that's those turds up, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Commanders, and the Eagles. It's Wednesday night, August 12th. Andrew, how you doing?
I'm all right. And yourself?
Good. I like that your new setup. I can see the sun shining in the background to give me an indication of timing. So as we progressively get closer and closer to winter, I will know that we're getting later and later into the day because it'll be darker. Or, hey, the storm has finally hit you because I can see that the cloud cover is blocking the sunshine.
Yeah, I don't know if this is where I'll do it all the time.
Are you going to move to your basement and do it with all your wood paneling and stuff in the background like me?
No, maybe the spare bedroom. I haven't set up a computer room yet.
I guess that's always an option too. Well, hey man, cheers to your new place.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm surprised you actually have some beers left over from Saturday night.
I haven't had any since. So.
Oh, okay. That was fun, man. I enjoyed hanging out and seeing your new place on Saturday night. That was a good time.
Thank you. Anytime, man. Anytime. Just give me half an hour notice so I can clean up.
Put some pants on. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Shit, shower, and shave.
And you got the barbecue going?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And the steak was good? Looked good.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice new barbecue. It better turn out good food for the price I paid for it. God damn it.
Fair enough.
$3,000.
Okay, yep. Yeah, it better deliver. But it also comes down to the chef, and we know that you can cook.
Thanks.
Now, you also have a bit of a soapbox rant that you want to get off your chest. We talked about it in between episodes. Was something you want to discuss regarding running backs and wide receivers and paychecks.
Yes, that Zay Flowers contract compared to Gibbs and Bijan is just garbage. Outright garbage. You cannot tell me a guy like Zay Flowers. You can't tell me, I'm sorry, that there's going to be those that listen or those out there in the world that don't agree. But running backs should be paid more than the wide receivers. I get, sure, hey, your wide receiver is a flashy guy doing the dancing in the end zone and catching a 75-yard pass. But give me a break. He does not deserve more money than the running back who touches the ball 10 or 15 times more than the wide receiver does in a game. Your wide receiver is going to get the ball thrown to him maybe 10 times in a game.
If you're a wide receiver one, yeah, you'll get 10 targets a game.
Yeah. Well, if you're a running back, you're touching the ball 30 times for runs, and you're probably getting 6 or 7 passes thrown to you in a game.
Okay, so I think the average for the elite running back is 30 touches a game. That combines both running touches and receptions. Yeah, so 30 touches a game versus 10 targets doesn't mean 10 touches.
Correct. You may only get 2 catches out of your, and that's why I said 10 to 15 times the touches. Like, give me a break. You cannot tell me those guys are worth that much more money than a running back. The running back is getting his head kicked in by a 360-pound defensive lineman. Wide receivers get, the 180-pound DB. Like, come on. There's no way in this world those guys are worth that much money. Give it to the guys who deserve it. Give it to the running backs. Give it to the defensive linemen and the offensive linemen. They're the ones getting their heads kicked in every game. They have the short career.
It's interesting the different ways you can look at it. And in this case, I'm in agreement. I don't think Zay Flowers should be paid more than Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs. With what they produce for their teams, and this is the approach that I take. If you produce for your team and you are a valuable asset to your team, whether you're on offense, defense, special teams, if you're a valuable asset to your team, you should be paid like a valuable asset. Now, we know that running backs have shorter careers. They don't tend to get paid a lot, but they end up doing a lot. And it's weird that everybody just accepts that running backs have a shortened lifespan and don't get paid very well for what they do, even though what they do is extremely important to an offense because it's a singular position. You'll have multiple wide receivers in a game, but you'll only have one running back that's really carrying the load unless you have like a miraculous set of circumstances where you can afford David Montgomery and a Jahmyr Gibbs or a Tyler Algier and a Bijan Robinson. Or you're in a scenario where you have two good running backs, but that's not going to last long because a good running back is going to go to another team and then you're left with whatever backups you have.
Exactly.
So I don't agree with the current pay structure, but I do see like elite wide receivers like Jamar Chase. That's the guy who deserves to get paid that amount of money because he's that valuable to his team. Puka Nacua, JSN, those are guys that deserve to be paid for their teams. Zay Flowers? Yeah, that team will work with or without Zay Flowers.
Yeah. I'm almost to the, like, if I was a player, I'd be like, hey, I'm part of a union. Why don't we create tiered players? Like you got even like offensive linemen. Saturday, guy that played for the Colts in front of Peyton Manning all those years. Anthony Munoz played for Cincinnati all those years. You've got elite guys at every single position. Have a tiered pay structure. You got your elites, you got your middle of the roads, and then you got your bench guys. Everybody that's an elite player gets between, and have $1 million separating the whole pay structure, or like the whole tier. And then your middle of the road guys. So the elite guys, $20 million, $20 to $25 million a year. Your middle of the road guys, 15 to 20. Your bench guys,
5 to 10.
5 to 10.
Sure. Right. You're scaling the pay structure.
Exactly. So like if I was a Myles Garrett, right? I'd be saying, hey, I am more valuable to my team than any single one of the wide receivers that are in that locker room. On any team that I go to, I am more valuable than every single one of them wide receivers. No, I might not be scoring all these touchdowns and dancing in the end zone and making a fool of myself and for the entertainment factor, but I'm the one that's stopping the other team from scoring. So I should be paid as much as they do. An offensive lineman who's protecting the Patrick Mahomes and the Lamar Jacksons and the Josh Allens. Hey, if I'm an elite offensive lineman and hey, no one sacked my quarterback from my side all year long. I'm an elite player on my team. Why am I less valuable than that wide receiver, or even the running back, or even the quarterback, or whoever? Am I less of an athlete and less of an impact player on my team? I mean, you got the retard in Kansas City who goes offside every time, and I'd be paying him less than the bench players, but you know what I mean? Like, why if I'm the one of the top 10 guys in the league at my position, how am I less than?
There has to be a better way of going about it than the current structure. I understand there's a cap and you have to fit all your players within that cap. And there's going to be players that eat more of that salary cap than others. But then you have to work with what you have left over. So if you invest heavily in certain players, other positions will have to suffer because you don't have the resources to attract the level of talent.
Just because I decided as a 5-year-old kid to play linebacker, I am less than.
Yeah, you don't get paid as much because
the team is the racist of football. You're less than, right?
You're less than.
You're not an equal to the rest of the team because you decided to play.
People are positionists, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're a quarterback, you are the highest paid position on the field. Then there's usually the next highest paid position on the field is somebody on the defensive side.
Or a wide receiver.
Or a wide receiver, right? Those are your top 3 positions. Whether that's your linebacker or your defensive lineman, those are your big positions.
Yes. Yes.
And then you got to structure it down from there, which is why rookie quarterbacks, teams invest in other positions when they're on that rookie deal.
Yeah. Because they can get away with it for that first 4 years. And
I get the position that the Ravens are in. They recognize that Zay Flowers is a good wide receiver. And they need a good wide receiver. So he's familiar with it.
And they probably had money under their cap
they made it work
to spend. Yes. Because they're not paying. They don't. Sorry, I know I keep interrupting you, but it's like a team like that. If your cap is $80 million, and you're not paying your offensive lineman and defensive lineman and secondary all that much money, you've got that extra money to pay Lamar Jackson and 2 or 3 wide receivers and maybe one other position, right? It's interesting to see how does Cincinnati juggle all that? Because you got Chase, you've got
T. Higgins,
both
making $100 million.
Yeah, you got Burrows making big bucks.
Let me answer that question for you. They don't have a defense.
Yeah, you're right.
They can't. Yeah, they can't afford. That's why they had the issues that they did.
Yeah, that's why those guys walked this last year. Yeah.
Because you spent too much money on one side of the football, you didn't have enough money to tie the other side, and then that just makes it frustrating because now guys that usually work with 1 or 2 elite talents, they're trying to band together to stop something they can't because they're missing that one particular athlete that's just going to raise all of their games. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the breakdown. NFC East. Last year, this is how they finished. The Eagles won the division 11-6, but it wasn't pretty. Cowboys went 7-9, and they were fantastic on the offensive side of the ball, but they might have given up too much when they traded away what's his pickle to the Packers.
Parka.
Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they finished 7-9. Commanders came in 5-12, and Giants 4-13. Giants had some really good games where they were leading and then just kind of blew the lead.
Yes.
Which is why they have a completely different coaching structure in place. And it doesn't sound like the coaching structure has done very good with connecting with the players. So we're all expected to temper our expectations of those players this year.
Yes.
Which is kind of sad because the Giants did have some talented young guys that were going to be exciting to watch.
Well, and I think also with the Giants, they suffered the San Francisco snake bite, I think, a little bit with
a lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries happening to their team throughout the year at just the wrong times.
Okay. Well, let's decide right now who's going to win the division. And I see you've already put in your stats in here, and I'm trying not to let it affect me in my decision making because I came in here with an idea, but it is probably going to end the way you've got it. I'm just trying to be a bit. I think the Eagles still win.
Yes.
So I'm going to have them go 11-6.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I have them going 10 and 7. I think losing AJ Brown is going to be an adjustment for them.
Yes.
I am a firm believer in the hex of seeing a guy on too many commercials. He turns around and has a crappy year the next year because he's focusing too much on his endorsements. And I'm starting to see Saquon Barkley in commercials up here in Canada.
Really?
Yes. So I'm thinking he might be taking. Well, he needs to take a step forward because he didn't have a good year last year, or the team didn't use him very well last year.
Everything was wrong with the team last year. The offensive scheme was bad. What else was bad? What is that? There's all kinds of things that just didn't go right for them. The offensive line wasn't healthy consistently. Jalen Hurts wasn't playing football the way he used to play football, but the scheme had all changed, and now the scheme is changing again.
Yeah. So I see them taking a step back at 10, like one game, but I have them winning the division.
All right. I think the Cowboys have a much better season this year. George Pickens was an absolute lottery ticket win for them.
Yes.
Dak Prescott's still a good quarterback. It's a good offense. We saw them put up points in light of their defensive issues, and hopefully they fixed some of their defensive issues. So I'm going to have them going 9-8. I would like to say 10-7, but somebody else has that number.
I had it at 10 and 7, so I have them having the same record as the Eagles. But I think, life without Micah Parsons, their defense will adjust. And they'll be okay. Their secondary was still pretty good last year. They were just susceptible to the run a little bit more last year. And you're right. Pickens was where the heck did that guy come from? So now they got two decent wide receivers and somebody who can chuck the ball to them. So
yes,
I think they'll have a little bit of a better year. They won't win the division. They might squeak a wild card. But it's Dak Prescott. He'll blow it the first game of the playoffs.
Okay. Dak Prescott. All right. No, that's the Cowboys way.
Yeah, they seem to do really well, and that team does
as soon as they get to that playoff round, man.
They do great for the fantasy owners who've got their players. They put up numbers like crazy, but then as soon as it starts to mean something, they all go and hide in the corner.
All right. Next up, Commanders and Giants. I have them finishing tied with the Commanders in last place.
Okay.
I don't expect big things from the Giants. That's purely based on my speculation and what I'm hearing from other essentially podcasters and fantasy pundits is that they're not super excited about what the offensive coordinators and coaches are doing with the team. They like the players, they like what they could do, but they don't think they're going to be allowed to do what they did last year. So I expect it to be a bit more reserved, but I don't like the Commanders and what the Commanders have got going on in that team. They got Stephon Diggs, great. You got Terry McLaurin, great. You don't have much of a running game. Jaden Daniels is a good quarterback with an injury issue with his elbow. So if he's not on the field, the whole team's going to utterly implode.
Yeah. I have them. I have the Commanders going 6-11.
Okay, I went 5-12.
I think the Commanders
better than the Giants.
Yes, a little bit. Just because I think they've got a little bit more well-rounded wide receiver room, a little bit better of a quarterback. Jackson Dart, I think, is 1 year away, maybe 2 years away from taking a really big step and bringing the team on his back. I I worry about injuries with the Giants. I think the Giants are going to be a one-dimensional team, and it's going to be a running game. I don't foresee them throwing a ton. So I have the Commanders going third in the division, 6-11, and then I got the Giants at 5-12.
Okay, yeah, I think they improve over last year's record.
Yes.
So yeah, we're even there.
And with the Giants, like I said, I think it's going to be a very strong running game, and they'll steal one more victory than they had if they can stay healthy. That's the big caveat with the Giants, is they got to stay healthy.
That's going to be tough. Well, maybe if the new coaching scheme, like the offensive scheme they're going to run, will put them in better positions to not injure their bodies.
Yeah, like Scatterboo. You're
don't
strong.
run head down.
You're strong, and you got good vision, but don't look for the guy to run over. Run around him.
Yeah, let's create open lanes for you.
Yeah,
so you can get ahead of steam and then try and kick it around these guys as opposed to trying to go through them.
Of the 4 teams, I think the Giants have the best ceiling, because they could come out of nowhere if they all gel and they all stay healthy. They could even go 8-9, which would be a huge victory for them. Doubling their wins from last year, I think, would be great success for them. So I think they have the best ceiling. I think the team that has the lowest ceiling compared to last year is the Eagles, because the expectations are there for way up there.
Yeah,
but they're not going to achieve the expectations.
Yeah. And now that the team dynamic has changed without AJ Brown, I'm curious to see how everything shifts, right, with Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert. Let's talk about those rosters.
Yes.
So Jalen Hurts, it sounds like the new offensive system is going to play into Jalen Hurts' abilities a bit better than what last year was. So it's a lot of under center, which is going to help Saquon, and it's going to help Jalen Hurts with his scramble ability and his passing. That's what I'm hearing. So like, okay, cool. So maybe that is a good offensive uptick for them. Devonta Smith, I like Devonta Smith. That guy has been a good wide receiver in place where AJ Brown was either injured or they decided to focus away from AJ. Devonta is a great wide receiver too, and now he's going to see if he can be the wide receiver 1.
That's my fear. Can he step up and be the wide receiver 1, or is he a number 2 guy for good? But he's also got a guy now breathing down his neck.
Mekhi Lemon.
Yes.
Right? So they've got another round 1 wide receiver, Mekhi Lemon. They still have old man Dallas Goedert.
Yes.
And they drafted 2nd round tight end Eli Stowers.
Yes.
So I think the transition away from AJ Brown was a good choice.
Yes.
Get out from AJ Brown and his personality, and then make some changes inside the emotional and mental dynamics of that locker room. I do believe Devonta Smith can be a wide receiver 1 as long as there is another target opposite him. I don't think he can carry the burden like AJ Brown could all by himself. But I think Devonta Smith, as long as there's a secondary target, whether that's Saquon Barkley coming out of the backfield, I expect a bigger season for Saquon. Excuse me. And then even Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert had career high touchdowns last year. I don't think that's going to change. I don't think he's going to get the target level and the yards, but I would expect him to have good touchdowns. And then Mekhi Lemon, if he's a big deal, if he's a dude, if he's the guy, great. That's your wide receiver 2 on the opposite side. Good things can happen. I think that's why they're going to win the division.
Okay.
Good team all around that made some choices that they'll have to make the adjustments for, but I think will still be good.
Yeah. No, I agree. I fully agree.
And then Cowboys, which I think has got the better offense overall. Dak Prescott, better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. I'd rather have Dak than Jalen. Javonte Williams, I think that's a reliable running back. He's not like your top 5. He's not elite, but he's going to be okay, right? He's not going to hurt you. He's going to be okay. And then you've got 2 top tier wide receivers in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. And we can see from last year, when one was away, the other guy was freaking week winner all by himself. So they can both carry the load. But if both are there, you've got a great tandem to finish probably both in the top 5 if they just pass heavy. Yeah, good stuff. And then I guess they drafted Anthony Smith in round 7 as a wide receiver. And I have not heard any buzz about that kid.
No, but it could be it fits in as a third, a slot guy.
Depth piece.
Hey, you go across the middle, get your head kicked in this year instead of the other two.
Yeah, okay.
Jake Ferguson, again, he's middle of the road, reasonable guy. He's not going to win you weeks, but he's just going to be consistent.
Yeah, I think you got to pick the week that you think he's gonna hit, because he'll get his 7 touchdowns of the year, but you can't guarantee the volume.
Yeah, it's not somebody that I would be throwing in my starting tight end spot. I would maybe consider him as a flex guy against like the Giants.
Okay, so like matchup dependent
teams that the Cowboys really step up against, like Green Bay, Dallas, Chicago, like teams that just the whole club steps up and says like, nope, not in our house.
Okay. All right. Next up, we got the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, the way he plays football, he could win you some fantasy weeks, running, passing. The kid can do it all as long as the offense is actually like moving.
But he can also lose you weeks.
Yeah, because he can just utterly flame out. I don't like the running back room because we don't know if Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and Rachaad White, what's going to happen there. I expect it to be a 2-headed backfield.
But neither one of them, to me, is a number one running back, period, on any team.
Right, which is why they're both listed here, because one of them or both are going to have to produce for this team. And then you've got 2 old wide receivers in Terry McLaurin and Stephon Diggs. And I think there's gas left in the tanks for both of them. I don't think they're washed by any means. I don't think they are
Stephon Diggs is doing a lot of
above
talking.
Them. Yeah, I think Lamb and Pickens are above them.
Yes.
And whether they're above the Giants wide receiver rooms, we'll see this year. I don't think they're far apart.
But Diggs, with all his talking in the offseason because he wanted out of his contract and he wanted to go to the Commanders. He wanted to go to the Commanders. I want to go there. I need to go there. Blah, 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 blah. You better step up and be Jamar Chase.
Be a dude. Let's see. 1,000 yards. If he gets 1,000 yards, then. All right. Chig Okonkwo.
Flashes.
That's fingers crossed, man. As the tight end whisperer, guru, fan, collector of all tight ends, I hope Chig Okonkwo becomes the dude for this team. As much as I have invested in the other guy, Ben Sennett, I think Chig Okonkwo has proven, at least his time in Tennessee, that he could be. And maybe this is the year where they focus on it and they utilize it. Maybe he rises up.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think he does it, but my fingers are crossed to, hey, man, do it. Let's go. Cheer you on.
Sure.
I just like his name. It is a cool name. The Commanders drafted wide receiver Antonio Williams in round 3 and running back Katron Allen round 6.
I want Katron to win because it's just Katron.
Cool name.
Yes.
It's a cool name. So let's see what happens there. And then Giants. Well, that's your Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, Malik Neighbors, Darnell Mooney, Isaiah Likely, and Theo Johnson. Now, I was excited for Theo Johnson this year until they signed Isaiah Likely. I think that kind of kills what Theo Johnson could do as a second or third year tight end. And Isaiah Likely might be the number 1 wide receiver in the start of the season with Malik Neighbors still rehabbing from injury.
And Darnell Mooney is just, I think he's a number 3 on any team. I don't think he's number 2. So Malachi Fields has an opportunity now. The rookie that they took in the third round.
I've heard some talk about this kid as a wide receiver.
I think this whole offense runs through Scatterbo and Likely.
You think so? You think they're going to be a run-first team?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Because I think Jackson Dart, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he a kind of a running quarterback too? Yeah. So between him and Scatterbo and then dump the ball off on second downs to likely Fields or Mooney, and then run again on third down because they dropped it. But I also think like Isaiah likely could, between 5 and 8 yards from the end zone, he'll probably get the ball. Scatterboo won't. Inside 5, Scatterboo will take it every time just because of the way he runs.
Yeah.
So I think the offense runs between those two players.
Okay. It could be good. I wish them all the best this year because they were fun to watch.
Yeah, when that team was healthy, because I'm a running back, like a run first guy, and I love the running backs that run over guys like, Christian Okoye,
Jerome
Bettis, Walter Payton, guys that could run over. I mean, yeah, Allstott. I mean, even you got guys that you can deke like,
which is cool. Barry Sanders
and stuff like that. I love to see the running game more than the passing game. So I'd like to see like Scatterboo, not drop his head so much, but do it when you have to. Put a DB in his place when he's coming off the court, when he's coming around the corner, and just lay a DB out. I'd love to see that, but don't do it against a defensive lineman. That'll just hurt you.
You're just shortening your football lifespan.
Yes.
Okay. Now that we've talked through all of these players, let's set our best fantasy lineup. So quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and flex.
We are different this time.
We are. I saw you already put your names in there, but I know who I liked. Now, I'm going Jaden Daniels because I want that supreme upside.
Okay.
You picked?
I picked Prescott because, again, like I said earlier, during the regular season, that team puts up crazy fantasy numbers. So I'm expecting the same.
Okay. I wanted Dak Prescott. I think he has the best floor. I think he's just going to be a good quarterback with the opportunity to be great. Because you picked Dak, I had to go Jaden Daniels. I wanted to have some variety between us. Yeah, we both went Saquon Barkley as our running back. I do think that he's good for a bounce back year this year.
Yeah.
We both picked CeeDee Lamb.
Again, I think with Barkley, there may be a problem with I'm spending too much time on endorsements, but we'll see.
I hope that's not the case. I hope he's good at football again. We both picked CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver. I think that's no question. Tight end, though, I'm going to go for the touchdown upside of Dallas Goedert with A.J. Brown packing it. And you're going with the new arrival Isaiah Likely.
Yes.
As a hyper-targeted,
I think so. He's going to be like Kelsey in Kansas City, I think.
When so targets, yards, touchdowns, it's all going to come his way.
Yeah. When they go to look, if wide receiver 1 is covered, he's probably going to go look to Likely.
Well, he might even be the wide receiver 1 at the beginning of the year.
Could be. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then our flex, because there are some choices here.
Yes.
Guys that I considered but didn't select. Deep shot Malik Neighbors, because I do think Malik Neighbors gets on the field this year. And when he is, I think he'll be great, but I don't know how long it'll take him to be utilized.
Yep.
So he was in consideration. I did think Javonte Williams, because I think he just has he's going to be a top 10 running back, but probably in like the 9-10 range.
Yeah, I don't think he gets the touchdowns. He'll get the yards, but he won't get the touches in the end zone.
Okay. And then we have our selection. So I picked George Pickens. I think who might even be the wide receiver 2 out of all of these wide receivers. And you picked?
I picked Scatterboo, and mostly because of the touchdowns. Like I said, if that team gets within 5 yards,
they're just going to hand it off to him.
They're going to hand it off to him 3 times. If it's 5 yards to go on first and goal, you'll probably see him run it 3 times.
And then it'll be a Jackson Dart sneak on the 4th.
or an Isaiah Likely dump off. Yeah. I think Scatterboo will get some decent yards, but I think he's going to be more of the touchdown maker guy.
Yeah, there is some worry that he won't get he'll get the short yardage and he'll get the early downs, but Tyrone Tracy will come in on that third down situations and might vulture some of the 5-yard red zone work.
Sure, I could see that, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
So as a fantasy manager, our fingers are crossed. We're knocking on wood. We are hoping that Cam Scatterboo is not a scam.
That's right.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Now we have to get ready for next week. Let's see what's on the docket for next week.
Tomorrow night.
Preseason football.
First game. First regular season. First week of preseason. So get your popcorn out. Get your Kool-Aid ready.
Do you think it'll deliver as good of a game as the Cardinals and Panthers Hall of Fame game?
I don't know. Some of them yes, some of them no. I think teams that got question marks at their starting players, you might get to see them a series or two. Defenses and offensive line, you'll probably see them play the first quarter. So,
ooh, it's the Lions and Bengals tomorrow night. My team and your team. Oh, that's going to be good.
It'll be a blowout because the Bengals will destroy the Lions.
And the Lions will play all their third and fourth stringers just to make the Bengals feel good.
Hey, give us the confidence going into the regular season.
That's right. Okay. So next week, we're going to be jumping down to my favorite division, the NFC North. And that's going to bring us pretty close to the start of the season. We're going to have a little bit of a break. We still need to hear from our good friend Slick as he brings in the name he's got to pick for Chervin. So we're going to be following up with him and getting him ready for that. Come back next week, everybody, for the NFC North. Let's hear how that goes. Until then, enjoy some preseason football. We'll see you guys all next week. From one poor man to another, remember, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. Good night, everybody.
Have a great week, everybody.
We'll be right back.